Transparency.
Transparency, where transparency noun. The characteristic of being easy to see through. The old-fashioned type of plastic like a transparency. A photograph or picture printed on plastic that you can see on a screen by shining a light through it. Transparent, clear crystal, crystalline, diaphaneously, filminess, filmy, impenetrable, limpid, liquid, opacity, opacally, pellucid, thin, thinly, translucence, translucent, translucently transparent. The quality of being done in an open way without secrets. You want more transparency in government. Transparency, the quality of being easy to see through. This plastic has the transparency of glass. A transparency is a picture you can show on a screen. The used transparency is to show pages of the new book. Transparency, a situation in which business and financial activities are done in an open way without secrets, so that people can trust that they are fair and honest. We need to strike balance between the need for transparency and respect for individual privacy. Using personal accounts to conduct city business reduce the transparency of the public process. The Treasury suggested a greater role for independent auditors to increase transparency and accountability. Our goal is to make sure that union leaders operate with the utmost degree of transparency. Financial or market or corporate transparency. More greater improved transparency. Consumer groups are backing demands for more transparency in car hire pricing. Transparency in our oath STH. We need greater transparency in the market after last year's scandals. A lack or shortage of transparency. Concerns have been raised about a lack of transparency regarding the company's healthcare and pension liabilities. Promoter created ensure transparency. Compare opacity, a thin piece of clear plastic with writing or drawing on it that you can show on a wall or screen with using an overhead projector. Acetate. Examples of transparency. A sender wishing to transmit a secret message distributes and transparencies among and recipients, where the transparencies contain seemingly random pictures. The installation of transparencies dates from the end of the 18th century. The sooner we move away from good practice, supposed quality assurance, transparencies, and all the other gobble the gook of managerial tyranny, the better. Does the definition as proposed cover transparencies under the conditions of transparency? Dots of the background were visible between the gaps of the dots of the random dot bar. Transparency is not a particularly exotic phenomenon, but because it frequently occurs in natural contexts. Understanding how Q combine will aid in specifying the role of transparency in these phenomena and the nature of the mechanisms involved. There were access doors and rear view transparencies on both sides. The attributes of clinical guidelines, including validity, reproducibility, clarity, flexibility, and transparency, are explained very clearly and in each case are related to their authority. Within so-called one-string system, local governmental responsibility and transparency were combined with coordination and expertise. The use and expansion of the wave vectors in terms of the amplitudes, which however breaks down at the transition to transparency. The second is fidelity of information and transparency to the critical information flows needs for effective policy making. We decided to study in vivo myelination in zebrafish because these organisms have proven to be extremely useful for imaging due to its transparency. Comparing equation 25 to equation 22, we see that the entire left side of equation 22 degrades structural transparency. The documentation showed that systems varied in the configuration of institutions responsible for each stage and in the sophistication and transparency of the processes undertaken.